Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome, everyone, to Women Who Really Rock. I'm your host, Carmen Milagro. This will be the last show of the season 2019, and we're very excited about all the new and interesting and wonderful things that we're going to bring to you in 2020. We're Women Who Really Rock. In 2019, we designed this to showcase women and artists, which is very appropriate for our guests today. But we want to support their stories. We want to share what they're doing, the incredible work that they're doing all over the world. And our show is always available on the Divas That Care network, and you'll find us on the divasthatcare.com website. Now, right to it. Today's guest on Women Who Really Rock is my friend, mentor, colleague. She's so inspirational to many of us all across the world. Her name is GinaLinn Espinoza, also known as Dr. Love. GinaLinn is a healer, an entrepreneur. She's a visionary. She's an artist, a motivational speaker, mentor, and a community advocate. She's also the founder of Up Latino, Rise Up Leadership, and Get Wise Latinas. She's dedicated to cultivating and fostering talent as a consultant and life strategist. GinaLinn believes that the spirit of humanity, our diverse lives, and our shared history propel each of us to tap into our own potential without limitations. But she also believes that certain buzzwords and language that we use every day is causing women to get sick as they're trying to take over the world. GinaLinn, thank you for joining me today. It's been a while, but I'm so happy that you're calling in today all the way from, I didn't say that right. All the way from Central Mexico.
Yeah, that's why I say it that way. Where are you? Central Mexico, literally in the middle of the country. It has been a while, Carmen. It's been a while since we sat down and had coffee together in San Francisco.
I know, and I'm so happy. Thank you for taking time out of your day to chat with me today on Women Who Really Rock.
Well, it was a pleasure, and I thank you for the platform because it's so important to have all of our voices heard. We all have one, and they seem to be the same sometimes, but they're really not because we all have our own, hopes and dreams and aspirations, but also we want the best for the women who are with us, came before us, and who are following in our footsteps.
Exactly. And it is these conversations, these familial conversations because you and I know each other, but at the same time, to share them with our listeners is so important. And I wanted to start with a question that I've always wanted to ask you, and I just never did. So I thought today would be the perfect day.
Okay.
How did you become known as Dr. Love?
So it's actually the Spanish version, which is Doctora Love. So in 2008, the National Hispanic Leadership Institute in Washington, D.C., for 30 years they've been picking 22 Latinas to go through a fellowship. It's a $25,000 fellowship that I won in 2008. Well, part of it is a stint at Harvard, at JFK School of Government, and we go through an executive leadership program on policy, and we spend some time on Capitol Hill with our policy makers and all these things. Well, we're also supposed to have a project that will affect the world, and we're supposed to present it at Harvard. Well, I went there with my love, and literally there with my love, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm at Harvard. What are they going to think when I'm presenting this woohoo love thing? Because you think of Harvard being so stodgy and everything like that. Well, while I was going through the program, the woman there who was facilitating us, she's retired now. Her name is Linda Kavulian. She says, well, what's your project? And I said, well, I have this idea, and I live by these 4 pillars, and it's LOVE, love, liberation, ovation, vocation, evolution. So everything I do comes with love. Everything I do comes with love and everything. And so my classmates, my other 21 classmates came, we were at dinner one day, and they presented me with a little tiny little award, and they called me Doctora Love. So that's how it came to be.
I love it. Thank you for sharing that story. I was always curious, and I just never asked you. So this was the perfect time to do that.
Yeah.
I love that story. I really do.
Thank
but
you.
I also, and I think it's so well deserved. But I also wanted to sort of dive into this, like you really struck a chord with me when, when you said this, what do you mean, for everyone that's listening and for myself included, could you dive in a little bit deeper? Like, what do you mean specifically when you say words matter to our health, especially as women are trying to take over the world? I mean, I know you're writing a book on this, but I would love it if you would sort of give us a teaser insight to what you mean by this.
Well, I can give you firsthand. I guess I might choke up a little bit, but a few years back, it's one of the reasons why I took a sabbatical, which is it was going to be 1 year, and it's like I'm 4 years into it now, where I decided to go circle the world a little bit and leave my love everywhere. But
right.
I had a attack. At the time, I didn't know what it was, but it was an attack of the central nervous system. And everyone kept saying, "Oh, you're just so strong. You're so strong. You're so strong." And that word kept getting me. I'm like, I'm so strong, but I'm falling apart. So the word strong is like, it's an adjective, and people use it to describe me. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I am, blood and bones and skin and, molecules and energy. And I could cry, and I fall apart. You just don't see it. And and shame on me too for not falling apart more in front of people, because I didn't. We call it. I sort of leaked every now and then, like little tears, but I never cathartically cried. And I believe that it had that word that people defined me by is a word that I really examined at that time. Like, am I strong? Am I strong, or do I have strength? There's a difference. There's a difference.
Sure.
So when you just say strong, you're just giving me a label, and it's a badge. It's like we walk around. I mean, you see it on social media all the time. Oh, you're so strong. You're so strong. Yay, we see the lady, that lady with the muscles, strong. But it's really more than that. Strong means I am vulnerable enough to cry in front of you. I'm vulnerable to tell you my truth, my story, the things that have happened to me that have made me the woman that I am today. Every single little fiber that is kind of woven the quilt that I am today, which is a big mess, which is okay because it's a crazy quilt and I love it. Which brings me to the other word, which is aligned, that we always use. And I always been telling, somebody asked me the other day, if you were to write your memoir, what would it be called? And I thought, oh, that's a great question. And I said, just call me misaligned. Because if I'm aligned, that means I didn't go anywhere and I didn't do anything. And so they're like, oh my God. So the words matter because and we don't consciously understand that word is like beating us on the head. That little word strong, it's kind of almost like the water torture. It's do 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 on the top of your head, and it's going into your psyche. And if you don't feel like you're strong, you feel bad in front of other people. So I went back to the word strong because it's such a word that I'm like, strong now means something else to me. It means what it should mean. You have strength. Yes, I've had strength to get through a lot of different things in the world, just as you have. We've had people come in and out of our lives. We've had ups and downs and disappointments, and all of those things make us the beautiful women and people that we are. And I think that we should really, really celebrate that. And it took me back to like a book from the early 90s that Tony Robbins wrote and about Awaken the Giant Within. The book was okay. I'm a life coach, and the book was okay. But you know what he did inside was he put a list of words that he thought that you should use. And so I am taking that, almost that same list, and actually giving them the right meaning. So, it's like we've twisted words around to fit our narratives, and it's not really something ought to be doing, I don't think. I think we should just take words at face value and apply them to ourselves as needed. And I don't think we need any adjectives. We're awesome. We're already awesome as we already are, Anyway.
No, I love this because as I'm listening to you, I'm already starting to like redefine some things because it almost feels like, to get back to the word strong, before you and I just had this conversation, to me I thought, what does strong mean? And sometimes it means, well, it's someone who doesn't show their emotion. It's someone who doesn't let other people see their vulnerability. It's someone who doesn't, cry in front of others. So if that's what the definition is, I'm not strong.
Right.
Not
that's
by
what
that
I say.
definition.
I'm not strong by that definition, but I have strength.
Right. Exactly.
So if you think about strong, yes. And so what happened to me is I was so strong, my nervous system said, "Oh, you're not that strong. You're falling apart now." And so I had an attack with the nervous system, and it took it took me 9 months to get actually diagnosed correctly. And I will have my nervous system was damaged from being strong, from not crying, from doing things, and just like powering through
keeping things in, right?
Yes,
and not releasing. And I get it. Well, can we do something really quick? Like, there's 3 words that one of them, it just drives me crazy, but I use it, and I try to use it in this, in the way that I think it is, but like the word empower.
Oh
right?
my God! Don't even get me started on that one.
I know. Like it's very overused, right? But what does it? If we were to redefine it really quick right now, what's your redefinition of the word empower? Or do we even need it?
I don't think we even need it because I just recently had a retreat here at my home where some of my NHLI sisters came here to visit, and we talked about this. We talked about that word, and we're like, we should just pitch that word. And what does it really mean? It's just a word. And what is it?
Right.
And I've tried to redefine it over the years. Probably the last 7 years, I've decided I don't want to even use this word myself. What does it mean? Empowered. I'm what? I'm a lawnmower. I'm empowered. I'm a what? it could just mean so many things. Why can't I just be me? Why can't we start to just define each other as ourselves? I don't know. Right now, empowered can mean, people think right now empowered is emboldened, especially in politics. All these people are emboldened to just say whatever the hell they want, but they don't make any sense, and they're mean and hateful, and that's not nice. I mean, it's just not nice, and that is another subject for another day, but it's hurting our psyche and hurting people all over the world. I mean, people are all over the world are in abusive relationships with their politicians. So,
sure.
Ooh,
that's a good
empowered
one.
is one. Yeah. Empowered is. I have this sabbatical's been great because you can pull yourself out of where you're living in the United States and go back and think and actually like hover over and see what's happening, and you can see where all the holes are, and you can see what's happening, and you can see that what's brewing. And you're like, oh, my God, I wish I want to go in there and fix that stew because it just doesn't need any more of this, or I need to take that out, or, that type of thing. So empowered is one word. I think we should just, put it on the shelf, and maybe it'll come back in 20 years or so. But that's one. You said you had 3.
Right. Yes, I do. What about the word authenticity?
Well, the word authenticity, I think the word genuine is a better word. It's years ago in the 90s, someone gave me the biggest compliment I've ever had in my life to this day, and he said to me, I believe you're the most genuine person I've ever met.
Wow.
And so I looked at the word genuine,
That's true.
and I was like, yeah, it just really means me. I always say the woman that wakes up in the morning is the same woman that goes to bed at night, except there's some experiences in between, that have, that help define me along the way in my growth and my wisdom. So I appreciate the word genuine. Authenticity, I don't know, it's one of those icity words, I don't know. It's an okay word as long as we use it correctly. We can't just use it to use it.
Right. I see this. I see that.
Mhm.
And what about self-care?
So I say self-love.
Mhm.
I always use the word self-love, and that's interesting because I thought I was doing everything right in self-love, but apparently I missed something in my own life because I got sick. So so I prefer the word self-love, and then I go back to my LOVE, which is liberation, ovation, vocation, and evolution. So if I really, really dive into like liberation means saying no, learning to say no. Ovation means taking care of yourself, rewarding yourself for being a good person, for doing well. Vocation is do what you love, and you'll never work a day in your life, which is really where I'm in right now. I'm living it, and evolution is just evolving to the next level. So
Sure.
so when I say self-love, I mean self-liberation, ovation, vocation, evolution.
Mhm. No,
Yeah.
I love it. Like you're redefining what everybody else thinks that we should be saying, and it's another viewpoint. It's another perspective. It's what I love about these conversations on Women Who Really Rock is one of the things that I want to be able to do is have this dialogue to, if we inspire one person to think about something in a different way, and they can take it or leave it as they need it. I just think that it's the whole idea of having conversations, right, like this. The more conversations that we have amongst each other, with each other, not just tweeting at each other, but real conversations, I think it's so important in how we're going to grow and where we're going to go to the next part in our lives. I also wanted to sort of circle back to this other. You founded all these different, organizations and groups, and of course, one of them, which is how I met you, was Get Wise Latina. You're on the Facebook group. You've been around for how many years now? What do you attribute to, the longevity and the success with this group?
I don't know. I think it's been around. I want to say it's been around for 9 years, but it sort of turned into one thing from another. I know I'm Latina, and one of the things that we battle with is the crabs in the bucket mentality, is being Latina.
Right.
And for those of you who don't know what it is, it's when you start to rise in the world, that somebody pulls you down. So so
to try to get to that spot.
Right. So so we're sort of self-defeating our own demographics sometimes, and I don't know. And it's all because of the pie. Like everybody wants a piece of the pie, instead of doing what you did is just go bake your own darn pie with with your own. So like, hello, to me it just seems so obvious. So what happened was I had been in several groups of Latinas, and I was too, what's the word? I don't know, too open, too willing to share, too willing to do this. So they asked me to leave these groups, and they kicked all my friends out with them. And there were Facebook groups as well. So I got with my board of directors, because if you don't have your own board of directors that you can talk to, then you need to have one. So I got with my board. We went around my kitchen table and like, what should we do? And they're like, Gina, why don't you just start your own group? This is crazy. Why are you, I know you want to help the world or whatever, but why don't you? So what happened was I just started my own. I just decided, well, what do we call it? And at that time, Sonia Sotomayor had just been brought into the Supreme Court, and all this that Wise Latinos was everywhere, and so I'm like, yeah, but it's more about not just being wise; it's about continuing to get wise. And so we wanted the group to have an accent, like getting wiser. Mm-hmm. We're not, it's all about that. So that's why when our posts we vet all of our posts before we put them up, so that you can share them without having to worry about it. We've only had probably 2 in all these years that have come back. We're like, hey, there's a little questionable, and then we pull them right away. And we've really only had to ask, 10 people in all this time to that have been trolls, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So it's an open forum. It's a public forum, because I believe in being, there's a lot of groups out there that, you and I are part of out there, and a lot of them are public or private or secret.
Right.
And
exactly.
And I just don't believe that. I believe that if we're really going to rise up and be, we want, the world to see who and what Latinas are about, then we need to be open and people be able to walk in our house, see what we're talking about, and if they want to hang out there, they can hang out. If they don't, they can leave. So, but at least they know. Look, what are we talking about? There's people that are buying and selling houses, and there's all kinds of things, and there's politics that are on there, and there's people who care. When there's we celebrate successes. We've celebrated your success on that, and so we want you to see. Hey, we're not some like covert group of Latinas, like trying to. We're just regular girls, and women trying to. And there's men. And one of the things is on the other group, men are not allowed. And on our group, everybody's welcome. And you don't have to be Latina. You just have to like that. Right. So
you just want to, exactly. You just want to share like we do in our regular lives. I think that's really a really nice opportunity that you created, you and your board of directors. And I love this because, and correct me if I'm wrong, like, it feels like you have a board of directors for your life versus a business. Is that? Yes. I love that idea. And I never thought of it in that perspective, but I love it. All the friends that I make decisions with, they are now board of directors of my life. I love it.
You can call them up and say, congratulations.
Exactly. But getting back to the purpose of your group, it seems to me that it mirrors the way that you live your life. And maybe on some psychological level, maybe that's what those other groups are kind of doing, is they're mirroring themselves as a group. I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, in these two particular cases, yes, they mirror the founders, and what they say. What the mafia is saying is that the fish stinks from the head. So it's like if I'm doing any consulting for corporate, we talk about corporate culture, and that's the first thing you should be setting is your corporate culture. So or your life culture. So yes, they are open. But I'm not the only one that posts. I have a ton of admin. I'm all over the place. I believe in shifting leadership around. My God, I don't want to be doing all this my whole life. We need to pass the baton to other people. So I don't have a control issue. And so, you might see a post that looks like it's come from me, but sometimes it's coming from someone else too, because I just have passed on the leadership to somebody else. Right. But everybody knows what the culture is of the group that's posting. So, that's an administrator of the group. So, and I give everybody free reign of the group. I don't, so it's amazing. People just like, you just leave it alone. I go, I just leave it alone because I believe that people that are supposed to be there are going to be there, and people that don't go with it. It's like what that Audrey Hepburn poem that she likes so much, that she says, don't ever throw anyone out of your life. Well, we don't throw anyone out of their life. They throw themselves out because they just don't fit there anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's not their culture. It's not their home. Right. Now, I know that, before we wrap up, I know that you do this incredible work for other people. You're a consultant and a life coach and all of these things. And you're global. Like you lived in Spain and you're in Mexico now. But for if any of our listeners were to want to connect with you more, how do they find you? Where do they find you besides Get Wise Latinas on Facebook?
Well, they can find me on my personal Facebook page, GinaLinn Espinoza. So, and I'm the only one there. I'm the only GinaLinn Espinoza on Facebook so far. So I'm sticking to mostly everything on social media, on Facebook to simplify my life. And so I don't currently have a what I have is a sort of just this marker on my website, but it's not really there. So and then once you connect with me there, you can connect with me through Messenger there too, because globally it made so much sense just to do everything through social media or through WhatsApp. So once you connect with me through Facebook, I will send you my link to my WhatsApp
Great.
business page, and then we can reconnect there too.
Absolutely.
So
that's amazing. You do such incredible work for, so many different people. And I want to make sure that we let people know how to spell your name too, because it's it's a special spelling, and we want to make sure that if they're listening and they're intrigued by what you do and what you've said here today, which I think many people will be, how do you spell your name on Facebook?
So it's GinaLinn. That's GinaLinn, and then my last name is Espinoza, and it's Espinoza.
Perfect. I hope that we get to do this again in 2020 because there's so many other topics that we can cover.
We need a
but
conference.
For today,
that's what we need.
I know. We really do, and we need to come see you in Mexico.
Mi casa,
so
su casa.
Gracias.
Yes, we could do a retreat here. It's a perfect place. It's an amazing place.
Okay.
So.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Let's definitely talk about that, GinaLinn. And thank you so much. I know that you've probably got about a dozen projects, if I know you well enough, that you're needed at. Because you've always got so many wonderful things going on. But mostly what I love and what I've seen you do throughout the years is your continued work in the community that you live in, the community that you created on Facebook. You're doing, it's not just talk with you. And that's one of the things that I love about. I don't get to talk to you all the time, but your actions speak louder than words, in my opinion. So thank you for everything that you do for all your communities.
Thank you.
Yes, and thank you for calling in from.
Oh no, that's so sweet.
You're gonna make me cry now. And thank you for calling from Central Mexico. Why can't I say it? It's Querétaro, right?
Querétaro.
Querétaro.
Querétaro. That's okay.
Okay, well, thank you for calling.
That's where I am today.
Yes.
Tomorrow
exactly.
I may be somewhere else.
Yeah. Good. Well, thank you for spending some time with us, and we will do this in 2020 again. And thank you, everyone, for tuning into this last show of 2019 with my very special guest and friend and mentor, and she's an inspiration to everyone whose life she touches, GinaLinn Espinoza. We are so thrilled that you spent your morning with us here on Women Who Really Rock. We
Carmen,
want to continue. Yes?
I just want to say Happy New Year to everyone, because by the time this, it'll be close to 2020.
Oh, right.
And
that's right.
And I want to just say that it's a pleasure to be here with you today. And it does feel like we are connected. The social media used correctly makes it feel like we're neighbors, even though we're
exactly.
Thousands of miles away. And I just want to congratulate you for all your success that you're having.
Oh, thank you.
I remember when you were carrying product door to door to people. So
yeah. Oh, thank you, GinaLinn. Thank you so much. That's the beauty of this. And you're right, when social media is used correctly, this is an incredible, powerful tool to stay connected to people that we care about and that we love and who aspire to do what we do. We want to uplift and elevate our listeners. I want to do that as much as possible in my community. So I take examples like you, and that's what that's what I wish for the world, for this upcoming year and, for 2020 and beyond. I hope that we have more goodness and kindness in the world in all of our communities. So until next time, I hope that you all have an incredible year end and an incredible beginning to the new year. And remember, you can find us here on the Divas That Care Network, and that website is divasthatcare.com. Thank you, GinaLinn. Thank you, everyone. Have an amazing, amazing day.
You too. Hasta luego.
Hasta luego. Adiós.
Adiós.